I think it's time to make a video that tells you about my little town of Eureka Springs. A few years ago, I put that story in a book I call Eureka Springs Impression. It shows you some of my paintings that depict the city, and it tells you some of the interesting stories about the history of Eureka Springs. Eureka Springs Impressions, paintings by Larry Mansker. These paintings were created to capture and preserve the essence of my adopted town of Eureka Springs, Arkansas. I wanted to depict the town's Victorian charm, which drew me here, and to show the character of its many creative and interesting residents that keep me here. The town has a population that hovers around 2,000, with approximately 1 million guests visiting the town each year. This helps to make Eureka Springs very busy with a lot of activity and diversity. Hence, my paintings of Eureka Springs are very busy with a lot of activity and diversity. Eureka Springs takes great pride in its floral gardens and antique homes. Originality and diversity are important for the town's gardeners, who are challenged by the rocky and unstable terrain. The result is they are recipients of many national gardening awards. Now it's time to tell some of my favorite Eureka Springs stories. Let's start with this one concerning the Harding Springs. It's my favorite. The story goes that an Indian princess jumped to her death from the top of the Harding Springs cliff because her father wouldn't allow her to marry the man she loved. I had a hard time believing that story. I didn't think the cliff was high enough to kill a person. But when I was in the Eureka Museum researching history for my book, I discovered that a large rock had been removed from the front of the spring, and they had also lowered the top of the rocky cliff about 20 feet. Now I could buy the story. In 1886, the Crescent Hotel opened its doors and was immediately reviewed as the finest hotel west of the Mississippi River. This is one of Eureka's charming residential areas. The yellow house on the corner was built in 1881, originally used as a home for the minister of the First Presbyterian Church, which is across the street. The Crescent Spring gazebo was built in 1885 and restored in 1991. The Carnegie Public Library was completed in 1912. Horse-drawn carriages were popular in the 1880s. Around the year 2000, horse-drawn carriages started up again in Eureka Springs and became the favorite for tourists and newlyweds. Here's another first for Eureka Springs. The Palace Bathhouse and Hotel was built in 1901 and is still operating today. In the 1920s, the hotel erected a new sign, the shape of which suggests a different kind of bathhouse. The sign was made in France and was the first neon sign west of the Mississippi. This painting, Magnolia Street, was the most popular in my Eureka Springs Impressionist series. The house on the right was built by Dr. C.E. Davis after he had canvassed the entire country for a favorable climate for his family. He moved here in 1881 and built his home, which also served as his medical office. The house on the left was built in 1885. The house sat vacant for many years. It was renovated in 1998. Eureka Springs is the home of many artists. Their art can be seen throughout the city in its parks and art galleries. Pictured are some of the artists in Basin Park, which was the location of the main healing springs and was considered sacred by the Native Americans. The park was built in 1890 and the water fountain in 1904. The memorial statue of the World War I soldier was erected in 1919. The large oil paintings in my Eureka Springs Impressions series have found a home on the 4th floor at the Crescent Hotel. In my next video, Eureka Springs Paintings 2, I will show you a few more recent paintings of my hometown. To see more of my artwork, visit my website, larrymansker.com.